Thank you very much, Mpumelelo, for joining us. Is it a pep talk? Was his letter a pep talk, or was it, as the DA described, a word salad? Or do you think that that letter was a really important message for the party?
Good evening, Sally. Well, I think that the president wanted South Africans and members of the ANC to know where he stands on corruption, that he is anti-corruption. But I am not sure whether he expected to that letter to have any effect other than just for him to be known that is anti-corruption by word of mouth. Because if it's a matter of word of mouth, well, we have long gotten the message. You'll recall that in several addresses to the nation on its update on COVID-19, since the state of national disaster was declared, he had said several times that those who are involved in corruption will be dealt with. But we know that nothing has happened. In fact, subsequent to his stern warning, more allegations of corruption have emerged. So now he's addressing this letter. It's a very unprecedented decision that he has taken to address members of the ANC in an open letter. So from an expression of his position on being anti-corrupt, it makes sense. But if there's any expectation on the part of the party or the part of the public that any action would follow after the letter, I doubt it, because by now, most members, if not all members of the ANC, have read the letter. And nobody, as far as we know now, since the letter was issued, has insulated themselves from the party, as the president has asked.
It was quite interesting in the letter, the president reminding the party about the mandate on corruption from the 54th National Conference at Nasrec, that every cadre accused of corruption must account to the Integrity Commission or face disciplinary action and should actually step down unless there are compelling reasons why they shouldn't. And also that they should develop a clear policy on family doing business with the state, which of course doesn't seem to have happened. What is the next move that we should expect? Do you think and do you expect that the National Executive Committee, the highest structure in the party, needs now to respond to that letter? You know, the DA criticised that letter for not naming names. Do you think that we need to see, for example, the NEC coming out and saying Zandile Gumede's appointment to the KZN government is a wrong decision?
Well, Sally, the NEC won't do that. The National Executive Committee of the ANC will not do that for two reasons. One, actually, the president cited the conference resolutions of the 54th conference. He could have actually gone further. He could have gone further as far back as 1997, when the ANC adopted very strong resolutions against corruption. In fact, every conference has a resolution against corruption, up until the last conference. And during this period, when many resolutions are being drafted, adopted, you know, change of language, the language is becoming emotive and very strong. As that language becomes strong, as the ANC become anti-corruption from a rhetoric point of view, there's more and more allegations of corruption that affect ANC leaders. From the arms deal to Travelgate to Life Esitimeni, you name them, state capture, right up until the PPE's procurement scandal. I must say, perhaps the president was stung by the fact that this is a big major scandal that happens under his watch. All the other scandals I've mentioned, they happened either under the leadership of President Mandela, Mbeki, or Zuma. The PPE scandal is the one that directly impacts on his leadership.
What do you think is going to happen next, realistically, then? I mean, to be fair, we have seen the SIU charging 3 companies linked to COVID concerns. The bank accounts of 40 entities linked to Gauteng PPEs were frozen on Friday. You know, just on Friday, the Hawks arrested Nelson Mandela Bay's acting municipal manager for suspected corruption. We are seeing some movement. Do you think that, that we will see more?
Well, I think we should be able to see more, provided that the state institutions that are busy with those investigations and those that are behind the prosecutions and all of that are not captured again. Because you must expect that the people that are corrupt in the ANC and those who benefit from that corruption are not going to sit back and insulate themselves, to use the words of the president. And they will fight back because they know that if they capture the state, if they control those investigative agencies, then they can be immune from prosecution. We saw that during the state capture years where the NPA was captured and other institutions were captured. And we know how to capture state institutions. First of all, get in control of the ANC, and then get in control of the deployment policies of the ANC and the deployment practices of the ANC. And then you have captured state institutions, then you are immune from prosecution. So all of these minor improvements you are talking about, it remains to be seen to what extent can they be upscaled before there's a capture again of state institutions and before we regress again. I must point out, Sally, that one of the reasons why it's difficult for people to believe that the president's letter is going to yield anything, it's because, well, exactly why the president was elected president of the ANC, concurrently, there were other additional NEC members who were elected while they were facing allegations of corruption. So you can't say after you have appointed people knowing very well that they face allegations of corruption and then say they must step aside. The question is, why did you elect them in the first place?
Do you think that we're getting to a point of reckoning for the president, that he might have to, because he has power to act, he has the power to say, you're out, you're not doing what I asked you to. Are we getting to a point where he might have to be prepared to sacrifice his political career to try and break this deadlock within a very fractured ANC?
Well, sir, actually, I have been surprised that given the fact that the president does not have the kind of insecurities that a president like Zuma would have had, for example, financial insecurities. This is a wealthy president. He has killed it in a lot of BEE deals, sitting in huge corporate boards year after year. In fact, some of the deals, had to do with international companies. So he's actually super wealthy, one of the top 10 wealthiest South Africans. So I would have expected that would have showed his resoluteness, at least, and would have made him independent and would have made him act without fear that he's going to lose a position tomorrow. So I think that's precisely the reason why many South Africans thought that there was hope when he rose to power. But I am not sure whether he's willing to use that kind of independence that comes with being wealthy. I am not sure whether he's willing to use that kind of independence that should come with his exposure to many things in South Africa, which actually put him at an advantage compared to his predecessors. So I think that the president should, first of all, if this thing has to have any meaning, what these actions have to any meaning whatsoever, he needs to start with his cabinet. He needs to say, I expect the ANC as a party to do the following. I expect society to do the following. On my part, where I have complete control, he's in complete control of cabinet. He must say, I'm going to subject my members of cabinet to the following measures to give the public confidence that I'm acting. If somebody violates, lockdown rules, he should be able to summarily fire the person. If a spokesperson is involved in all kinds of unsimilar allegations, he should be able to say to the public, these are the steps that I've taken, so that it doesn't look like he's just talking. He should look like he's acting in the area where he has got complete discretion.
Thank you so much for your views this evening, political analyst Mpumelelo Mkabela.